my friends. Welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. My name is Katie, and if you're new to my channel, hey, welcome. I hope you'll consider subscribing, and if you're back, welcome back. Today I'm here to join you guys with a WIP and Chat. WIP stands for Work in Progress, and Chat stands for chat. So feel free to whip out your whip and we can hang out and catch up just a little bit. So I'm going to be working on a diamond painting. Feel free to work on whatever kind of project or chore or errand or whatever that you're in the mood for. And yeah, I have lots to chat with you guys and catch up about. But before I dive into it, let me give you a really quick rundown of what I'm going to be using and working with today. So the kit that I'm working on is from Jaded Gem Shop. I am finally starting this kit. I'm so excited because I love what Jaded Gem Shop has to offer. The name of this kit is Asleep. I hope I don't put you to sleep today. Unless you, I guess you just, if you find my voice very, very soothing. Now, the title of this piece is Asleep. It is licensed from the artist Victoria Leal. I got this one in a 60 by 60. You can choose your size and your drill shape and also the crop, actually, for most of the kits from Jaded Gem Shop. This is the full artwork. I didn't choose one of the crops that she offered for it. And I chose square drills because I really wanted to try out square drills, and I thought that it would look good with this artwork. And I'll tell you more about my experience so far with working on this kit once we actually get into it. As far as accessories go, I have a couple of different pens I'm going to work with today. So this one is from Swampwood. They both poured the blank and turned it. It's so gorgeous. And then this is from Lazy River Wood Turning, and this was actually a gift. And I love this. I hear that they're going to be making a return soon. But I realized, like, I haven't used this pen yet, and I really need to do that. Other accessories that I'll be using, this is brand new. This just came in. This is a tray from Elisa over at Butterfly Resin Gems. And I actually had seen Elisa post a really similar style of tray. It was the same tray shape and everything. But it had, I think, like a pale lavender color here with kind of the sparkles going throughout. And I immediately told her, I'm like, I need something in that style. And then I was looking at the kits that I was planning to work on soon, and I realized, I'm like, that kind of tray style I think will look absolutely beautiful with this artwork. So I sent her this artwork and asked, like, can you just find like a pink that kind of matches it? And I think she did an incredible job. I love how this turned out, and she actually made a set of matching minders to go with it. This is obviously perfectly on theme because it's got the moon, which I suppose if you haven't seen the original artwork, you don't necessarily know that, but there's a hanging moon in it, and it's really beautiful. I'll link to the listing for the artwork, by the way, so you can take a look at it on Jay's website. Of course, I'm going to link to Butterfly Resin Gems and all the other shops that I mentioned for these accessories, but yeah, I'm really excited to use these. This is a pin that was converted into a minder for me from Jen, one of my viewers. She had sent it over to me. I think she got this pin on AliExpress and then converted it into a minder for me. And again, the color scheme and everything is perfect. I love it. And then I decided I haven't used Randa's putty in one of my WIP and Chats in a while, and I'm feeling very fall right now. So this is from last year. This is the Fall Farmhouse scent of her scented putty. I'm going to use this in my multi-placer. I'm sure even though it's a year old that it's perfectly fine. Apparently I got some water on the packaging at some point. It's fine. And then I haven't used Super Sticky. This is Patty Wax Super Sticky. I have not used this in quite a while either. This is actually, I think, like 2 years old or something, but I'm going to use this in my single placer today. So let me get my pen loaded up. I'm going to use this one because I haven't actually used this pen yet, which is just a shame. Let me get it loaded up with putty and Super Sticky Patty Wax, and we'll be off to the races. So how are you guys doing today? I hope that your day and your week are off to a wonderful start so far. It's currently, this is before she switched to release paper. This is like regular paper. Okay, that'll be fine. This is from like really, I think earlier on when she first launched, but that smells so good. Okay, anyway, it is currently Saturday evening, and this video will go up on Monday. So it's, a couple of days before, but that's usually how I do it. I kind of just pick either the Saturday or Sunday evening, depending on schedule, and be like, okay, this is when I'm gonna film my WIP and Chat. But it's been a good weekend so far. It's actually been pretty low key, which is good because it's the weekend before the kids go back to school, and we have a very, very, very busy September ahead, where it feels like just about every weekend we have something going on. So I will take a little bit of a quiet weekend here. At least it's that way for me. Connor and Adam are going to go down to Legoland with my nephew for his birthday. We just decided not to take Micah because he'll be more of a wild card in a spot like that anyway. And he's Micah. And also just because it's expensive and we're really trying to save a little bit just because we've got a lot of expenses happening as well. So anyway, okay, so I already did start on this section, but these sections are taking me a little while to complete because, let's do this minder. Because they're very, very confetti heavy. That's just, I think, Jade's style when it comes to her artwork. It's not a complaint, and I think it actually suits this artwork very, very well. But yeah, it's really confetti heavy. So it's taking me a little while to get through these, so I thought it's okay if I've already started this section. Hopefully we should finish this one and hopefully get to start the next during this WIP and Chat. But yeah, super sticky package like this. I just scrape going a few different directions and kind of dig in, and you could tell I've used this one before. But then I just scrape off the excess a bit. And a lot of times, what I would used to do when I really was bothered by any residue left over, because when you first place a few drills, once you've freshly loaded wax, sometimes you will get a little bit of residue on those drills as you're placing them. If that bothers you, you can have a little tray with some trash drills and use a sacrifice drill that you can press on a few times to try to get rid of the residue. But I don't tend to pay as much attention anymore to that kind of thing. But anyway, let's get started. So I got nails on, so I'm gonna use my tweezers. By the way, if you didn't know this, especially if you're oh no, it's hard to open these containers, or I'm wearing nails, don't want to bust them up, flat end of your tweezers, just pop it right open. Super, super easy. I basically, Elizabeth Ward trays for drill storage are basically my ride or die. I will really only use other kinds of storage if I have no other options. At one point, I have a little bit of static. I maybe should have put a dryer sheet in with these. That's okay. At one point, I had, in one of my start pictures that I put up on Instagram, I had used something besides Elizabeth Ward in that picture. I literally got a message from actually one of my Patreon members. A message. She's like, I didn't want to make a sassy comment on the post because I was afraid someone would think I wasn't being sarcastic and would come to your defense or something. But she's like, but I really wanted to say was, you must need to do some kitting down, or all your Elizabeth Ward storage must be in use, because you're using a different kind of storage system in that picture. I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. I've tried a ton of different storage systems, and I always come back to Elizabeth Ward. I have seen some people come up with some interesting ways to do drill organization and storage for kits. The one that most intrigues me, and I don't really, I think, have the space to do this myself, just practically speaking, but it really, really intrigues me, and I feel might make me enjoy using Harbor Freight containers more, is that someone got one of the 3-drawer, I think they're supposed to be washi tape sets. I have one on my desk that I store washi tape in, but someone got one of those, and apparently Harbor Freight containers fit perfectly in them. And I was like, that could be a really, really good solution for using Harbor Freights without having like half the headache of Harbor Freight storage containers is that like the little containers just want to flop all over the place when you go to pull one out, and it's like a whole thing. So I'm like, that's kind of an idea that I would try if I had the space for it, but I don't really. And I mean, I don't have a problem with my Elizabeth Ward containers, so why fix it if it ain't broke? Except when I want to test it out for you guys, I suppose. But anyway, I'm telling you what, I am struggling a little bit with this kit. I may need to change my lighting setup because right now I just have left up my lighting that I use for filming regular videos. I don't always set up my lighting when I do WIP and Chats, but I left it set up because I filmed a video before this. But a lot of these symbols are a little bit like darker. It's not a problem with the canvas. It's just the effect of this lighting in particular, the way that it's hitting the canvas. I don't know if it's going to work for me. I might switch up the lighting. We'll see. Let me try to work on it for a little longer and see if I can adjust. But I was like, I'll just leave it up for my WIP and Chat because then it'll be like not lazy lighting, but instead now it's causing a little bit of extra work for me. Anyway, it has been nice to be back to more of a little bit of a regular filming schedule with you guys. It was really good to take a little mini vacation there. The timing was really good for that. I feel like it was good for my mental health and everything. But I'm also just enjoying kind of getting back in the groove and in the swing of things. I have to be honest, when I went to film a couple of videos, like the first couple of videos after I took that break, I felt like I was like brand new. I felt like I was stumbling over my words, and it just felt like I didn't feel like as confident in myself and stuff. I was just like, what is happening right now? Like I feel so clumsy with this. And so I was like, I guess I just have to know that when I come back from taking a little break, like even though it was only less than a week, it's apparently going to take me a little bit to get back in the swing of things, but it's fine. But it is nice to be back. I am looking forward to, with the kids going back to school this week, that I will have my mornings back for filming. It's definitely my preferred time to get filming done, both in terms of just like the practical side of things, where then that frees up my evenings to kick back and relax, or to like watch shows with Adam and stuff like that. But also like the indirect lighting. If you've been here for a while, you're probably so sick and tired of hearing me talk about like, I can't wait till my kids go back to school because I love all of these things about filming during the day while they're in school. I'm sorry. I guess I just am that excited about it. And also I'll be able to like run errands and stuff. So all the things that I always talk about, like, yay, I can't wait for. I'm still looking forward to those things. Yeah, so this kit has been really enjoyable to work on. It's been so interesting to try out one of Jade's kits here. I specifically wanted the first kit that I worked on from her to be one with square diamonds because I was so intrigued by how she prints these canvases. If you're looking and not just listening, you may have noticed that like this whole drill field, like everything you're seeing, or all the symbols here are very dark, but all the diamonds I'm placing, even on these dark symbols, are light. And like over here, you can see like these are all light diamonds that are down, but all of those colors, all the symbols here, were as dark as it looks over here. She prints her canvases with a photo negative effect, and I feel like the closest thing I would compare it to is something like the experience of working on a mystery kit, even if you know what the original artwork is, that you're still having the actual colors and the artwork revealed to you as you work on it. It's really, really neat. It has been a little bit of an adjustment just visually, like for my eyes, to be able to like pick out the symbols that I need to work on. Actually very similar to my experience with working on a mystery kit, that instead of it feeling like symbols really jump out to my eyes very easily. I feel like I have to spend just a little bit more time hunting for them. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing at all. It's just an observation. But I think it's just so interesting. I love that we have different... Where'd that diamond go? Here we go. I love that we have different shops trying out different things. I think that Jade is trying a lot of really, really neat things. And it certainly doesn't hurt that she keeps signing artists and releasing kits with artwork that I really, truly adore. I definitely have been really drawn towards this particular artist, Victoria Leal. I feel like I want all of the things, but this has been so incredibly confetti heavy as well. And I think that that is pretty typical, not just with the rendering style that Jade goes for, but also it's pretty much what I would expect from the specific artwork that she's licensing. This has a really like soft, not quite it's not really watercolory, but it just is like a soft and more muddled, not in a bad way. It's the art style. It has that kind of effect, like soft and more, I guess, less defined. And there's lots of like really tiny little details and touches. Like even the background has a texture to it. So this is not color blocked, but this is very consistent with the background of the original artwork, where it has like this really faint, this really, really faint pattern on it. And I'm not mad. I'm really not mad. So this has been really, really enjoyable to work on. I will almost certainly, like I think I can confidently say I will not finish this before Drills and Chills kicks off. That's really completely fine. I'm just going to have 2 kits going for a little bit. I will hopefully have at least half of this done by the time Drills and Chills kicks off. My first Drills and Chills kit is going to be After the Rain, and that one has round diamonds. It's from Diamond Art Club and has a little bit more in the way of color blocking. So it'll actually be really nice to have these 2 kits going at the same time, because then I can have both in my life at once. I always am curious and like to check in and ask you guys sometimes, what is your preferred kind of diamond painting to work on, as far as do you love lots of color blocking or lots of confetti? I know some people have really strong feelings on it. I know, like, I have one friend that she literally will refuse to buy kits that have too much color blocking. I have another friend that she won't buy kits that are too monotone in color because she gets bored with that. I have a friend that won't buy kits that are too confetti heavy because it just isn't enjoyable or relaxing for her to work on. And all these things are totally fine. Like, you figure out what you enjoy, like what kinds of diamond paintings you enjoy doing. Find a diamond painting company that offers what you love, and you do you. and don't feel any shame about that. But yeah, like what are the kinds of things that you prefer to work on? And it doesn't have to be limited just to like drill shape or color blocking versus confetti. You can be like, I really love working on portraits, or I really love working on landscapes. Speaking of landscapes, I had to talk myself down because I saw that a friend was going to be destashing a really pretty discontinued Diamond Art Club kit, and it was very much on theme for like the fall season, but it was like a giant Dominic Davison piece. I think the Old Pumpkin Farm, is that what the name of it was? But I was like, oh, I'm curious. I went and looked in the artwork, and I was like, oh, that's so pretty. How nice would that be to work on for like Drills and Chills and be seasonal and everything. And then I like kind of like mentally kicked myself in the butt and was like, no, what are you doing? Katie, you do this every time. Don't do it. Look at how big it is. And it's a landscape. And I know this about myself, but I just keep thinking like, maybe this one will be different. But no, like I get really, really bored and unmotivated after about like an hour of working on a landscape kit. So I know better. Like, I've been not allowing myself to buy landscape kits. But there was just something about, like, a friend going, D-stash, discontinued kit. Oh, it's fall themed. And my brain just was like, forget it. Like, yeah, I want to think about this. And I went to a couple of friends. I was like, remind me and tell me, Katie, don't try to go buy this kit. And they were like, Katie, what? No, don't try to go buy this kit. It's a huge landscape. You will hate it after like an hour. And I was like, okay, you're right. And so I never messaged that person to be like, are you really going to de-stash that? Because I need it. I didn't. I resisted. And I have plenty of kits to work on for Drills and Chills. We'll see how I feel about working on After the Rain, because that one is technically landscapey, but it's not huge. It's been in my stash for 2 years. And it has some really pretty colors in it. I'm hoping that, I don't know, I'm hoping that I don't get frustrated or bored with it after an hour. But I just thought I have so many like Halloween-y and actually a lot of like witchy kits, a lot of really cute witches. And I'm not even normally a witch person. I'm sorry, my friend Lindsay, who's hosting Festival of Witches. But typically I'm not into witches, like at all. But when it comes to diamond paintings, there are just too many cute ones. Like, I can't resist. So I just had thought, like, I have so many kits that are geared towards Halloween. It would be really nice to at least have one kit that's more geared towards fall. But it's hard to find a kit that's geared towards fall that's not necessarily a landscape. So I'm just backing myself into a corner is what's happening. But it's going to be good. I'm excited for Drills and Chills to start. I've been trying to be really on top of things this week. I have been trying to be intentional about setting aside time to make sure I'm getting real work done. I took a few hours the other night and got our whole, like, our sponsor lists put together, and I do need to go back and make some updates to those. But I had a mental deadline of, like, I want to be contacting sponsors by this date with kind of a follow-up for, like, okay, Drills and Chills is coming soon, and inviting them to post in, like, the Facebook group and stuff. But I had that date in my head. It was like, I want that to happen on a week from Drills and Chills starting, and I managed to hit that. But I was like, okay, I also want to have, like, our sponsor list, like the public facing one, not my, like, private tracking one or anything. I was like, I want to have the public facing one all ready to go so I can post that at the same time in the Facebook group and have that ready to add on to videos. But it was very time consuming, and it's not a bad thing. Like, I was enjoying it because I'm the dork that loves, like, layouts and spreadsheets and stuff. But I just needed to make sure that I was setting aside the time to get it taken care of. And then I wanted to get those messages all sent out to sponsors at about the same time as well. So I was glad that I managed to get that done. And I just have a couple other, I think, like, smaller, more behind the scenes type things that I need to get taken care of before the event kicks off. So weekly videos for that event are going to be on Thursdays. That's just when they are. I looked at doing a couple of different days, stared at a calendar for way too long, and then just ended up landing on Thursdays. So the content, like the topics from week to week, is going to vary quite a lot, and that's how people will be able to enter for the weekly prizes and whatnot. So yeah, we're kind of in the, like, a little bit of sort of that last minute scramble leading up to Drills and Chills starting. And, like, the Facebook group has been really, really busy. I have to say that I'm extremely thankful for the Modmin team. I'm not the one who coined that term, but apparently this was the first time that those girls had heard it. They're like, Modmin, oh my gosh, that works. I like that term. It's just a combination of admin and mods. So the Modmin team of the Facebook group for Drills and Chills, because they have been doing a really fantastic job of helping answer all the questions and helping, like, with the does this qualify thread and stuff like that. So, like, I literally cannot fathom, like, making this event happen without them. And I really like that I was able to partner with Lindsay over at Emeralds and Fairy Lights too. I mean, she's a really good friend of mine anyway, and it just made sense to be able to combine some of the elements of our events. And yeah, so it is coming together. But like I said, it feels like just as we get closer to that, there just feels like it's a little bit of a time crunch. Like people start getting anxious about like, oh, does this kit qualify? Like, oh, I'm part to post my start photo and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, it's fine, you guys. There's nothing that says that you have to like put that first drill down at midnight on September 1st. Like it's everyone is cool. It's cool. We're good. We're good. Let's do this color next. But I am enjoying it. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it's coming together. So if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about and you've gotten this far and you're like, I'm out because I don't know what Drills and Chills is, it is an event that I'm hosting solo this year. I co-hosted with a friend, Jessica, at Tiny Worlds of Wonder last year. It's just an event themed around all things Halloween and fall. And it starts on September 1st. So I'll link the announcement video below if you want to go find out more info. It will all be there, including the Facebook group and stuff. So other things that are going on. I finally, on Friday, I guess it might have been last week. So I may have mentioned this in last week's WIP and Chat now that I think of it. But I can't remember because I have a really, really legitimately terrible memory about what I've said where. It's especially a problem because like I have a weekly vlog that my Patreon gets, and there is some overlap between what I talk about in my WIP and Chats and what I talk about in those clips, in those vlogs. I'll have info about my Patreon below, by the way, but I will flat out tell you up front, like, don't sign up until the first of the month just because of the way that their billing system works. It's a subscription service. They charge on the first of the month no matter what, so you could sign up like 2 days before the month ends and you'll get charged the full amount that day and then get charged the full amount 2 days later on the first of the month. And I don't like that about Patreon, but it is what it is. So that's why I'm like, don't sign up until after the first of the month. If you accidentally sign up before and you get charged for like 2 days, I can also send you a refund for that too. But anyway, so I'm really, really forgetful. So I don't remember if I told you guys last week, but I finally got it together and sent a message to my doctor letting her know that my as needed or my rescue, there's like different terms that people call it, like my as needed migraine medication was not working. That I had tried taking it when I had migraines, I think 5 separate times over the span of 2 months, basically like mid-June to mid-August. I had 5 or 6 migraines that I tried to get rid of with Imitrex, and it just did not work for me. I finally got it together and contacted my doctor to let her know. And it was so easy. She just over, email was like, okay, I called in a new prescription. Let's try that instead. And I'd also mentioned to her, I was like, I've been tracking my migraines and headaches for 2 months at this point, and I still feel like I'm having a lot of them. Like I have the data now, and I didn't know if it is a good idea for us to talk about like a daily preventative med, or if I should see a neurologist for any like baseline scans or testing or anything like that. And she just said, she's like, if you want to talk about like that kind of thing, you'll have to like make an appointment and come in, which is completely legitimate. She's like, she can fill a new prescription, like a different prescription change without me having to go in, do an appointment, pay a copay, all that good stuff. But for something that's a more extensive discussion, of course, I understand that needs to be like an appointment, like a dedicated appointment time. So, but anyway, I picked up that new prescription, but haven't had a chance to try it yet, which I guess is a good thing because that means I haven't had migraine like to try it. But it's called Maxalt. It's another in the triptan family, triptan. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope that it does the trick. especially because I had just gotten to a point where I wasn't even bothering like trying the Imitrex anymore. Like I would just take Excedrin migraine, but that started being really incredibly hard on my stomach, and I was like, I have to get away from using this as my migraine treatment. I'm having a really difficult time identifying my triggers as well. Like I feel like I've pulled a couple like really highly sweet foods, definitely any foods that have any kind of like artificial red dye. I have to avoid, like artificial cherry flavor. Like those are things that I've known have been triggers for migraines for me since childhood. Like I was talking to my mom about this when she was here, and because I was talking to her, I was like, do you remember when I got my first migraine? Because I still remember it plain as day, but I don't remember how old I was. She was like, you were probably only like 8 or 9 years old. Because she remembered it too. We were at like a graduation party for someone at our church, and I didn't understand what was happening to me. Like all I knew was that all of a sudden, like, well, I guess maybe not all of a sudden, but I remember that day so clearly, and I don't have a lot of really clear memories from that age. So like, I guess pain and maybe trauma in a way was my association with this experience. But I remember we were at a graduation party for someone at our church, and like I remember like they had like I grew up in the country, like in a small farm town and stuff, and I remember like they had like the kids all participated in 4-H, which is an organization out here that I don't think this is common. Like in California, I don't really hear about it, but it's super common in the Midwest. But they like had rabbits and sheep and like all kinds of animals that they like showed for those things. And I remember like they had a cat that had just had a litter of kittens, and so I was excited to get to see the kittens and stuff. But I just remember like not understanding what was happening as like light. Like I got incredibly sensitive to light. I got beyond sensitive to sound. Like it felt like someone was just stabbing and scraping out like the insides of my skull, like in my eyes, and me just not understanding what was happening, and my mom realizing like, oh my gosh, you're getting a migraine. Like at like the age of 8 or 9 or something. She was trying to remember. She was like looking at like, okay, so these girls would have been graduating high school like in this day, so we would have been at this graduation party at this time. And yeah, so I don't remember what the trigger was there, but I was mentioning to my mom that I do remember once, again, at a very young age, probably a similar age, eating like a cherry flavored sucker that had been given to me. I don't know what it was, like a favor bag from school or something, and it being like an instant headache for me. And I just remember having, like, I've had the strongest aversion to anything artificially flavored cherry since then. Like, I can't. I know. It's like, it's awful. But anyway, I've had a lot of trouble identifying what some of my other triggers may be. I've been really deliberate about limiting my caffeine intake. I only let myself have 1 caffeinated beverage per day. That seems to actually help a little bit. But I find that if I have more than 1 or if I have 0, that I'm more likely to end up with rebound or withdrawal headaches from caffeine. So I just have found that to be the case, that like, okay, 1 caffeinated drink, whether it's a pop, or like a can of pop, or a coffee from Starbucks, which yes, like I know those things have different caffeine like amounts in them, but like I'm finding that it works for me, so I'm going with it. But other things, I'm not sure. But yeah, so we'll see. Part of me is like, I really want to see a neurologist in case they want to do like any scans or anything like that, because what if I have something else going on? Because you know what happens. You go to Google and you search your symptoms, and never do that. Never, ever, ever do that. Never go to Google. Dr. Google does not have a degree, and you should never, never ask for their advice. But I did, and of course I'm like, oh no, I have a brain tumor. And then I just kept reminding myself, like, no, these started like clockwork at the beginning of the year when I finally stopped over 7 years over which, like, the course of for 7 years straight, I was either pregnant or nursing. So clearly this has some kind of hormonal tie-in, but I haven't noticed any patterns within, like, cycles and stuff like that. So I don't know, you guys. There's my brain dump of what's going on in my brain with my brain. Get it? I'm a little, I don't know, you guys. I think I'm a little slap happy or silly tonight. But the good news, I have a new as needed migraine med, and I have the feeling I'll have the chance to use it at some point in the not too distant future, and I'll get to test it out and see if it does the trick. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Lots of stuff going on family-wise. My parents were here until Monday, but then they had a surprise visit with us up on Thursday. So they were in our area until Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, they drove down to San Diego to see a baseball game, because this is on my dad's bucket list, is to see his team, which is his baseball team, which is and has always been the Cleveland. They were the Indians. Now they're called the Guardians. His goal is to see them play at each stadium in the U.S. So they came out, they visited with us for a week. They drove down to San Diego to see a baseball game. And then they drove back up to us in Orange County because it was much cheaper for them to fly out of Orange County instead of San Diego. Originally, they were supposed to have plans to have lunch and spend the afternoon with an old college friend of theirs on their way back up from San Diego, but those plans fell through, and so my mom called on Thursday morning, the day that they were coming back up, to head to the airport and catch a flight. She's like, hey, our plans fell through with so-and-so. Do you want us to come over for lunch and just to, have a little bonus visit for a couple hours? And I was like, oh my gosh, of course, that sounds lovely. So they came up and we had lunch. The boys were super excited to get a little bonus grandma and grandpa time. I was excited to see them. And my poor dad, I ended up putting him to work in like a way that I felt really bad about. But our upstairs sink had been gradually clogging up, and it had basically got completely clogged the night before. And I didn't have any Drano with me. And then when my parents were over, I was like, I'm going to put in a drive-up order at Target or whatever and get some Drano. But then again, I started talking to my dad, and I was like, because he's a pretty handy guy. He does a lot of just house maintenance stuff. He's handy. I am not really. But I was like, but I keep hearing that Drano can actually be really, really bad on your pipes, and we're homeowners and we're having these other plumbing issues, so I'm really paranoid about using Drano. And he said, yeah, it can be kind of hard on your pipes. He's like, it's most likely a clog that's just in the trap. At least in the US, the way that our sinks and plumbing is set up is to prevent sewage gases from coming back up and leaking into your house, which is toxic and lethal and stuff. The way that the pipes work is that immediately under your sink will be this little trap thing that I don't understand the physics behind it, but that stops the gases from getting into your house. I'm like, okay, but apparently the shape of that just makes it very prone to that is where you will often run into issues with clogs and ending up with standing water. So he was like, I've unclogged these before. Let me take a look. Let me see if this is something I can just take care of. He's like, otherwise we can go to Home Depot and pick up just a snake, and we could try a snake or whatever ourselves before you call a plumber. I was like, okay. I'm just I just don't want to break my house. I just don't want to break my house. So we cleared out under the sink, which was also super embarrassing because it was an utter disaster under the sink. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that is this way, but you couldn't even see the pipes. There was so much stuff under there. It was a project I was planning to get to, cleaning out under there. I was like, well, I guess this is a project now. So I was basically keeping my dad company, trying to be productive alongside him, going through all the stuff that we pulled out from under the sink. And he starts unscrewing these pipes and stuff. And you guys, it was so disgusting. I was like, Dad, you get the world's best dad award, because that it smelled horrific. And he was like, it's okay. Like, we're going to get this cleaned out and we're going to get it, get it taken care of. I was like, you're the best. But also, oh my gosh, I swear we're not living in filth. It smelled so bad. So that was where the problem was. He got it all cleaned out for us, and the water's flowing perfectly fine now. And I was like, I don't know what to say. That was so gross. But yeah, so at least we didn't have to spend money on that, but also my poor dad. It was so gross. But anyway, afterwards he was like, okay, now if I ever do anything like myself at home with plumbing, he's like, I usually recommend like, let's leave a little like bowl or whatever under this area, like just to make sure it's not going to leak or anything like that from putting it back together. He's like, I usually leave it for like 24 hours. And as long as you haven't seen a leak or anything, then you're probably good to, put all your stuff back under the sink and kind of like put your house, that area back together. I was like, okay, thanks, Dad. But yeah, that was really nice to have that taken care of. But yeah, so that happened. We got bonus time with my parents, and then they are flying up to Portland to spend some time with my brother who lives up there. And then they're apparently going to drive from Portland to Seattle, Washington for a day to see a baseball game in Washington. So they're checking a couple of different parks off their list this summer. So yeah, it's been a family-tastic week. I did not get a lot of diamond painting done while they were in town, which is totally fine because, hello, my family's in town. I want to spend time with my family. But that meant that it took me a little bit longer to finish my Oraloa kit that I was working on. It took me a little bit longer than it otherwise would have. And I did some filming, obviously, because you guys got to see some, but I had taken like the end of the week off, that first week that they were here. The kids, like I said, they're prepping to go back to school. We actually had he had to meet the teacher this past week. They did it on a morning, actually. So I was like, I feel bad for the parents that work, that neither, if both parents work, how would they come to this if it's at like 10 o'clock in the morning? But it was like, yeah, back to school, meet the teacher thing. And thankfully I was able to go, and I took Micah, and I got to meet Micah's teacher. He's doing, I think different states or even different school districts call it different things. I think in California, most schools call it transitional kindergarten, which is basically like pre-K, which is different from preschool and different from kindergarten. Like it's a bridge year for kids with certain birthdays. Now, both my kids have IEPs and they're in special ed programs, so it's a special ed class for transitional kindergarten. But I got to meet his teacher, and I felt like I clicked with her right away, which was really, really good. I liked his teacher fine last year, but I think that his teacher this year, I think, is really going to be like what he needs, and I'm going to feel really good about like trusting her opinion as far as like the goals that he's meeting and the goals for setting and stuff like that. And he warmed up to the classroom and to her pretty quickly, though he's being really, really cute lately, where it feels like whenever we're going into new places or there's lots of new people around and stuff like that, he takes a little while to warm up to these things, and he'll slowly venture out and frequently come back to check in. Now, my understanding is that this is actually like a good sign, like a sign of good attachment, that like that's actually a good thing for kids to demonstrate. But I feel like we didn't see quite as much of that with Connor. And I think, at least in part, it's probably in part because Micah spent basically from shortly before his second birthday to like age 3.5, basically locked down because of you know what. So he missed out on a lot of like the outings and the things that and the socialization that Connor had at that age. And I think that may have made him just a little bit more shy. Now he did totally, like I said, he totally warmed up and then was like playing and exploring the classroom and kind of making it himself at home and stuff. So we totally got there. And I liked the classroom setup and stuff. I'm a little nervous because it's a bit of a big class, a little bit bigger than they were expecting it to be. So I guess they're talking about adding on another one, just because they want to have a good ratio of teachers and aides to kids. Because I'm not sure if it's a mild mod or a mod severe special ed transitional kindergarten program, but the OT came by during the meet the teacher time, and she seemed like she was a lot of fun, which Micah doesn't get like, I don't know what it's called. He doesn't get like pull out like OT services as part of his IEP, but OT, which is occupational therapy, by the way. But OT does do like observations and consults. Like I believe that's part of his IEP, is that she'll make recommendations for different things that will help him learn best and help him like engage, things like she might notice like, okay, he does a lot of sensory seeking in this particular way. So here's a way that we can meet that, feed that sensory diet while still like setting him up to like learn and to grow. And I love that. I love that it's not like, they're absolutely not trying to do a one size fits all approach. They're really looking at each individual kiddo and going, okay, this is what would help this child best. So I feel like we really lucked out in terms of our school district in that way, and I'm really, really grateful. I'm optimistic that we're going to have a good team this year, because this is a new school. For Mike, it's a different school than he went to for the special ed preschool program last year, and I hope that this will be a good year. He's just generally been talking a lot more. He has been really, really loving reading and wanting to read a ton with us, which I love, but he's definitely like, he's wanting to take over more of the reading, and he's really trying to read, I feel like, more word by word in a book, and even some words that I'm like, dude, that seems like a little bit more advanced vocab word for a 4-year-old. But yeah, no, that's great. But I can't tell. See, I'm running into lighting. Okay, yeah, those are both that symbol. It's still really neat to see. Little reader. Both my kids really enjoy reading, but Micah just, it's spiked a lot lately in a good way, where he just is really, really wanting to read a lot. And new books too. Like, he's not getting stuck in a rut of only wanting to read like the same couple of books. He keeps pulling out like new books from the shelf and bringing it over. I'm like, okay, you have to actually let me see the book while we're reading, because I don't have this one memorized, kiddo, because we're switching back and forth between them so much. So it's fun. It feels like he's making some strides with his expressive communication, and that always makes my mama heart feel happy. I was listening to one of Lindsay's WIP and Chats a couple weeks back, Emeralds and Fairy Lights. She was talking about how we have kids that have just a remarkable amount in common. We both have 2 little boys, and especially like her oldest and my youngest, it's kind of uncanny how similar they are in terms of like their special needs. And she's talked really like openly about these things, so I'm not like sharing information that I'm not supposed to or anything like that. I definitely recommend you go check out her channel and watch her WIP and Chats. They're always enjoyable to listen to. But okay, what symbol is that one? I can't quite tell. Okay, and then that one. Okay. Hopefully I didn't mix too many of these up. But yeah, she was talking about how really like we just find ourselves celebrating the little things, like things that, you know, maybe neurotypical kids you would really take for granted, certain milestones that they hit and things like that. It's like we don't take those things for granted because it's a much bigger deal when our kids do them. I literally cannot tell for the life of me what that symbol is. Is there something in there? I might just have to look at it after we're done. What is that symbol? I can't tell. I can't tell. Okay, that's fine. We'll do the other ones first. But yeah, she was talking similarly about how it's like even just hearing your kiddo use a word or a phrase that you haven't heard from them before, or just expressing that they want something without screeching. Like, these are the kinds of things that we celebrate so much. And not that all parents can't celebrate those kinds of moments, but I feel like smaller things are bigger milestones sometimes. And that was kind of the moment that I was feeling like I was having with Micah. So, did I miss that one? Anyway, Connor, on the other hand, he is having some real mixed emotions about going back to school. He really enjoys summer break. So I'm hoping that he won't be too grumpy when it's really, really time to transition back to school. He is going to have the same teacher as he did last year, even though, of course, he is moving up a grade. But his special ed class is a combo where 3 different grades are in the same classroom. And there actually are a lot of really fun benefits for the kids in that way. And I think that it worked out really well for Connor last year. So I hope that this year will be a good one too. But yeah, he's definitely getting to the age that I think a lot of kids do, where they just are like, no, I love summer break where I don't have to do any school and any work. And I'm like, I know. But I want to get them, I don't know, maybe try to get them like a cute like back to school outfit or something like that. Or maybe I'll just dig to the bottom of their drawers and find something like an outfit that I forgot that they had and pretend like it's new. But it'll be fun to have them back to school and with their friends and stuff like that. Adam has been super, super, super busy. He's had a lot of things come up, like different projects and stuff like that, in good ways. He just got asked to take on another paid screenwriting gig, but that is going to be a ton of work because it has a quick turnaround time. So I'm telling you guys, September is looking like a totally jam-packed month for like our whole family. We have something going on basically every weekend of the month, and yeah, it's gonna be busy. But for me, I'm hoping I'll be able to kind of mitigate that with being able to get things done while the kids are in school. So hopefully it won't be too overwhelming for me. But I definitely am hoping that Adam is going to be able to hang in there with all of that. Okay, I really want to like officially finish this section. I have one other symbol and then this mystery one. Hold on, let me try lifting it up and seeing. I think, okay, it's a letter F. What was that letter F? There we go. So you guys can see this has really come together to be a lot of light colors over what was dark colors. And I really, really like it. Like you can see, like we have a little flower right here. Hold on, I have one more symbol that there's like 4 of on here. And I was a little nervous to see like, is the dark gonna show behind all these light symbols? And it is just a tiny bit, but part of it, I think I need to try to like go back over it with a straightener maybe, because I have been a little bit lazy about placing and not like trying to get it totally perfect. Light colored backgrounds are super, super tricky though, with placing your diamonds, because anything being the tiniest bit off, it's going to be so, so incredibly obvious with those light colored backgrounds. But I think it's going to be fine when you pull back and look at it. And I don't think that the dark colors really are showing through here because these drills are fitting really nicely together. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy with you guys. So yay, we finished a section. Perfect timing. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this WIP and Chat. Let me grab, okay, come on, magnet. Let me go ahead and cut this section off. But a couple of quick things. So first, I wanted to say, yay, how fun was it that like tons of you guys after last week's WIP and Chat were like, oh my gosh, welcome to the love of audiobooks. So many of you guys were like, yes, audiobooks and diamond painting are the perfect combination, or, you know, you share different audiobooks that you enjoy listening to and stuff like that. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And feel free, you're always welcome to let me know if there are any particular audiobooks you're listening to and enjoying. I am hoping that this will be kind of a newfound love of mine and that I'm gonna keep adding it into the mix, but I'm definitely neglecting like my TV shows and like a little bit like my YouTube videos, like the ones that I watch and stuff, because I'm like, A Court of Thorns and Roses that series has just completely wrapped me up. I'm actually coming up on I'm more than halfway through the second book in the series, which I've enjoyed even more than the first. I've like really, really, really enjoyed it a lot. So I guess, you know, if you need me, you'll find me listening to an audiobook while I diamond paint and while I, you know, do all the things, because I just pop an earbud in and go. But yeah, thanks for the recommendations, and how fun to see that I'm not the only one that is enjoying the audiobook life and that I'm not the only one that discovered this. So that was super fun. This week, filming wise and video wise, you're going to see kind of some of the usual suspects. I have a post review that needs to go up. You'll see some unboxings. The Drills and Chills launch day video will go up on the 1st. There won't be any giveaways in that video. That's just going to be like, okay, Drills and Chills is starting. Here's a quick recap of all of the things. And yeah, so lots of fun stuff coming this week. But if you made it all the way to the end of the video, we've got moons everywhere in the accessories and stuff. So how about a moon emoji of some sort in the comments if you made it all the way to the end? Speaking of, if you made it all the way to the end and you're not already subscribed, you would probably like it here. So feel free to subscribe. There should be a button below this video, I believe. And you can also hit the bell to be notified when I share new videos. It's mostly... it really is all somehow diamond painting related content and like these WIP and Chats and stuff like that. So I would love to have you. I'm about to yawn. Okay, got rid of it. Sorry. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Let me know how you're doing down in the comments. What was the other question I asked? I asked, what kinds of diamond paintings do you enjoy working on, as far as do you like lots of color blocking or confetti, squares, rounds, any specific themes that you gravitate towards or away from? And then the moon emoji if you made it to the end. So anyway, you guys, thanks for hanging out again. Let me know how you're doing. Answer all the things. And have an amazing week, you guys. I will chat with you in the next one. Bye.